so it's time to have a look at my FPL Game Week 9 transfer plans. But first, let's have a quick review of how we did in Game Week 8. And as you guys can see, we only got 21 points in Game Week 8. And it will go down as one of my worst game weeks in FPL history, man. We flopped miserably. And at the time of recording, we are sitting at 1.3 million. It's a huge red arrow. And there is still one more game to play at the time of recording as well. So yeah, it could get even worse. I'm not going to lie. But as you guys can see on screen, man, we had a terrible week, right? It's as simple as that. We had a really bad week, but I did make a reaction video to Game Week 8, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about Game Week 8. If you want to see that video, go check it out. But yeah, you guys can see, man, it's been a terrible week, but now it's time to focus on what we're going to do moving forward and how we're going to rectify our mistakes, because there is a lot of things to discuss. So with that being said, guys, let's go and have a look at my Game Week 9 transfer plans. Alright guys, so as you can see, this is a move that I'm strongly considering to make for Game Week 9. Yes, I am thinking about taking out Bukayo Saka and bringing back in Morgan Rogers. Now, first things first, let me explain. I know some of you guys might be thinking, why on earth I am thinking about taking out Bukayo Saka, but for me, I feel like this could be a good point to take out someone like Bukayo Saka and sort of go against him, because I think the fixtures that he has are really tricky for an attacker. Liverpool at home is tough, Newcastle away is tough, Chelsea away is tough, and even Nottingham Forest isn't sort of the easiest fixture for Arsenal. Of course, Odegaard is injured as well, which is definitely going to hurt them. So I just think, you know, with Bukayo Saka having these tough fixtures and him costing 10 million, this could be a point to move off him. So yeah, and I do want to bring back in Morgan Rogers, right? I'm gonna be honest, guys, I have to hold my hands up, right? I have to hold my hands up and I have to say I got it wrong. I took out Morgan Rogers on my Game Week 6 wildcard and it backfired massively, because since then he's actually delivered, and I think since then he scored 2 goals in 3 games, right? He scored against Ipswich and he scored in the last game against Fulham. So I have to admit, I've made a mistake by taking out Morgan Rogers. Sometimes you just have to take accountability for your actions, admit you got things wrong, and just try and rectify your mistakes as soon as possible. And this is what I'm trying to do with Morgan Rogers. I want him back. I just think he's such a good pick, and I would want him probably throughout the entire season. He's so cheap. He costs 5.3 million and he's a player playing for a really good high quality team in Aston Villa, and he plays right next to the striker and Ollie Watkins. He's playing right behind Ollie Watkins, and if you were to ask me who is Aston Villa's sort of biggest goal threats this season, it's Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins. So I just think at his price, Morgan Rogers just provides such good value. And look, sometimes in life you make mistakes, right? Sometimes in life you break up with your girlfriend and then a few days later or a few weeks later you realize that you made a mistake and you try and get her back. Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to do with Morgan Rogers. I made a mistake and I'm trying to get him back. So look, I think Morgan Rogers is the one for me. He's a great long-term hold. Look, ideally, maybe this isn't the perfect... in fact, no, I actually do think this is quite a good week to bring him in, because he is playing against Bournemouth at home. So the idea is to bring him in against Bournemouth at home and then probably bench him for Spurs away and Liverpool away, start him for Palace, bench him for Chelsea, and then play him for against Brentford, Southampton and Forest, for example. But I want to be able to rotate him in and out of the team when necessary. But I just think overall he is a player that I really want in my squad. I really do like Morgan Rogers, man. As I said, he always passed the eye test for me. But back then when I owned Rogers, he wasn't really getting the goals and assists. So look, I made a mistake taking out Morgan Rogers and I really want him back. It's as simple as that, bro. So look, yeah, Morgan Rogers is definitely one to consider for me. I just like him and Ollie Watkins are just so good, right? They really are so good. So that's what I'm considering. Of course, Bukayo Saka would be the one that gets sacrificed, and that is just purely because, like I said, the fixtures, and also, is he gonna play? We don't know at this moment in time. So look, this might be a decent point to jump off Bukayo Saka, free up some money, get in Morgan Rogers. But yeah, what I want to quickly do as well now that I've explained to you guys sort of my thoughts and why I've brought in Morgan Rogers, I want to quickly show you guys sort of my transfer plans, not only for Game Week 9, but for the next 6 to 7 game weeks, because this is an important period for me and my team, and I need to make sure I'm making the right decisions. And I sort of just want to show you guys what I'm thinking right now at this moment in time. So we're going to head over to planfpl.com and we're going to have a look at sort of what I've got planned for the future. So yeah, let's get straight into that. All right, guys, so we are on planfpl.com. So let's have a look at what the plan is to do for future game weeks. And what you guys can see on screen right now is Game Week 9. So let's say that we follow through with these transfers and I do take out Saka and bring in Morgan Rogers. that's sort of how the team will look for game week 9. I would probably bench Konate for Mykolenko as well, possibly. But yeah, that's sort of how the team would look with that transfer in mind. Now let's move on to game week 10. Now what I need to point out to you guys is, do we put in Mohamed Salah? For me, I spoke about it yesterday in my game week 8 reaction video, and I said I think Trent is a problem because I'm not liking his attacking positioning, right? I just feel like his attacking threat has decreased in recent weeks, and I think for these set of fixtures, would I prefer to have someone like Mohamed Salah who's guaranteed and you know is going to start week in, week out? Now, that's the question I have to ask myself, and that sort of depends. That's going to sort of... That's the deciding factor on what I'm going to do with my transfers. And I don't currently know at this moment in time. But look, for this week, Konate would probably come in for maybe Mykolenko or Rico Lewis. But look, what I have in mind for this week is to bench Morgan Rogers for Dibbling. And my initial thoughts is to actually take out Dibbling this week in game week 10 for Diogo Jota. Now, look, Diogo Jota did come off injured in the last game against Chelsea, which is a problem. Now, let's just assume that Diogo Jota is fit, right? Let's assume that it is just a minor injury and it's nothing serious. Then this is probably what I would do. I'd most likely bring in Diogo Jota because that allows me to keep Trent Alexander-Arnold. So instead of having someone like Salah and a cheap 4.5 million defender, I get to have Trent and Diogo Jota for Liverpool's good free fixtures, right? Brighton at home, Villa at home, and Southampton away. So that's what I have in mind. But I'm hoping that Diogo Jota is fit because I think Arne Slot really does favour Diogo Jota. I don't think he likes Darwin Núñez a lot, and he's a much less risk compared to someone like Luis Diaz, who we've seen getting rotated quite a lot with Cody Gakpo, right? So that's why I do prefer Diogo Jota. If Jota is injured, then I don't think I'll go to Luis Diaz. I really don't. Which is a problem. Because I really do want a Liverpool attacker for these 3 games. So yeah, look, it's forward thinking, it's in the future. I don't know what's going to happen, right? So let's just move on. Let's assume that Diogo Jota is going to be fit and ready to play. This is what I've got in mind, right? So then in game week 11, the plan is to go finally to take out Dominic Calvert-Lewin, right? Finally, yes, I know I still got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but the plan will be to take out Calvert-Lewin, and this is where we attack Wolves. We attack the fixtures that Wolves have, right? Southampton at home, it's a great entry point for Strand Larsen. I really like him as an option, and I think this is the player I would go for in game week 11. So yeah, I really like this fixture a lot. I think it's a really good point to bring in Strand Larsen. I think he's got 3 goals so far this season. Scored against Chelsea, scored against Man City. Looked really good and being a good player in La Liga as well. So I do like Strand Larsen as a pick. I think him and Cunha are going to be 2 popular picks in game week 10 and moving forward. Maybe even game week 9 when they got Brighton away. But look, that's the plan for game week 11. That's what I would do. And again, the team looks pretty solid, right? Double Liverpool defense, Raya, Rico Lewis, and then a decent midfield and front 3. Of course, we still do have Foden at this point. I've had Foden for so long now. I'm obviously not going to take him out against Southampton. And then if he does well against Southampton, I'd assume that he would start against Bournemouth, fingers crossed. But look, I think I'm just going to carry on owning Phil Foden until that Tottenham game. I think that is the plan that I've got at the moment. Yeah, I know you guys might think I'm absolutely crazy for doing that, but I'm not going to take him out just yet. But yeah, that's what I would do in game week 11. Now in game week 12, that's the point to take out Phil Foden, right? After we bring in Strand Larsen game week 11, game week 12, that's when we take out Phil Foden, and that's the entry point for my guy Cole Palmer, right? Cole Palmer has to come in, and he is going to be a set and forget option at this point. I'm never going to take him up my team unless he's injured. Leicester away is a really good entry point for Cole Palmer, and I think this is the week I would want to bring him in. So yeah, I'd take out Phil Foden, bring in Cole Palmer, and again, the team looks pretty decent this week. And I think I would also bench Dominic Solanke for Morgan Rogers, who's got Crystal Palace at home. So I got triple Liverpool against Southampton. Unfortunately, I do have to play Rico Lewis. I could actually bench him though for Mykolenko. But yeah, a good midfield 5 with Smith Rowe and Mbeumo, Jota, Palmer, Rogers, and Haaland and Strand Larsen. So look, not a bad team for game week 12. And then we move on to game week 13. Now, look, game week 13 is a sticky one. It really is a sticky one. Liverpool play against Manchester City. Now, we got 2 free transfers. I think game week 13 overall is just going to be a bad week for me, right? I think I'm just going to have to hold it and just ride the storm, essentially, right? I don't really think there's much I can do to sort of pivot away from a bad game week. I think this is, on paper, I think it's a bad game week. But look, I would plan to take out Diogo Jota for Bukayo Saka this week, and then take out Dominic Solanke for someone like Danny Welbeck, right? Assuming Danny Welbeck is fit by this point. It could even be a João Pedro as well, right? Assuming João Pedro is back from injury. We don't really know what's going to happen. Game week 13 is far away, right? So, yeah, game week 13 is the 29th of November, which is over a month away. So we don't know what's going to happen in terms of injuries. But at this moment in time, let's just say Danny Welbeck is fit and João Pedro is still injured. I would also, bring in Danny Welbeck for Dominic Solanke. So then I would also bench probably Smith Rowe, who's away to Spurs. And then the team would look like that for game week 13. Yeah, as I said, it's really not great. Double Liverpool defense. Mikalenko against Man United. Yeah, it's just one of those weeks, unfortunately. There's not much I can really do. Yeah, I think that's sort of the idea with keeping Trent, right? This is the route that I would take if I keep Trent in my team, and Trent would essentially be just a long-term set and forget pick as a Liverpool defender. But look, I'm not sure how much I want Trent. I'm going to be honest with you guys. My honest thoughts on Trent is that, as I said, at the moment, I think his attacking threat has decreased a lot. Every time I watch Liverpool, every time I'm looking at Trent, I'm not seeing him create enough. I'm not seeing him create a high volume of chances. When I see him on the eye test, for me, he's not getting into those positions that you would see him get into in a Jurgen Klopp system, right? In an Onslaught system, Trent seems to be a little bit more reserved in terms of he's not overlapping Salah as much, right? Back in the day when Liverpool would play in a Jurgen Klopp system, we see Trent sort of overlapping the winger and getting those low, hard crosses across the box. But we don't really see that from Trent a lot, right? So I've got my doubts on Trent. And look, I've got one route where I keep Trent, one route where I get rid of Trent. This would be the route that I would take if I was to keep Trent Alexander-Arnold. But do I want to do that? I'm not too sure. I'm still undecided. I'm not going to lie. I'm still undecided. But yeah, that's my initial thoughts on that. All right, guys. So we're going to have a quick look at the route that I would take if I was to bring in Mohamed Salah and take out Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, one thing I want to point out is if I was going to bring in Salah, unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to bring in Rodgers this week because it would actually stop me from being able to afford Mohamed Salah in game week 10, right? So this week I would actually have to roll, and I would actually have to bring in Mohamed Salah in game week 10 because look, if I was to bring in Rodgers now, right, for Saka, so I take out Saka, I bring in Rodgers. If I was to do that, then in game week 10, when I want to bring in Mohamed Salah, I wouldn't have enough money to get Salah in and the defender I want, right, which is 8 Nuri. So unfortunately, because 8 Nuri is 4.4, look, I'm short, right? So with that being said, I would actually have to roll the transfer in game week 9. Then in game week 10, that's when I would take out Saka for Mohamed Salah. And then I would take out Trent Alexander-Arnold for Rayan 8 Nuri. Look, Wolves' defense hasn't been great, I know that, but he is so attacking and so good going forward, and the fixtures really are good for Wolves. You know, Palace, Southampton, Fulham, Bournemouth, Everton, West Ham, Ipswich. The long-term fixtures are absolutely fantastic, which is again why I'm looking at sort of the Wolves players like 8 Nuri, Strand Larsen, because I just really like their fixtures. But look, with the Salah route, although we don't have Trent, we still got the Liverpool defensive coverage with Konate, which is why I'm not against it too much. The only problem is I don't get to bring in Morgan Rodgers when I want to, but look, I like this team. I like the way it looks for game week 10. Now game week 11, again, the same thing would happen. I take out Dominic Calvert-Lewin and bring in Strand Larsen for the game against Southampton. As I said, Wolves have such good fixtures, and that's why I do really like Strand Larsen, man. Southampton at home, a really good entry point for Strand Larsen. And again, the team looks pretty solid this week, man. I'm not going to lie, in game week 11, looks pretty solid, especially if Phil Foden does start as well. I like the defense, I like the midfield, I like the front three. So yeah, look, that's what we would do for game week 11. And then game week 12, the reason why I also like Mohamed Salah for game week 12 is because he's a really good captain option. A really good captain option. Southampton away is a great fixture. So yeah, but in game week 12, this, of course, again, the same thing would happen. This is the week where I want to bring in Cole Palmer, right? All roads lead to bringing in Cole Palmer for game week 12. He must come in. It's as simple as that. So I take out Phil Foden, bring in Cole Palmer, and then I'd also take out Dominic Solanke again, and bring in Danny Welbeck, like I did mention in the other options. So yeah, we are making sort of similar transfers, right? The only difference is instead of Trent and Jota, I've got Salah and 8 Nuri, and then I guess that is the big talking point. Which option is better? Is it better to go with Jota and Trent or Salah and Aït-Nouri? That's the question I have. That's the dilemma I have. If Jota is fit, of course. But look, it's a very, very tricky one. Game week 13, I would actually play Salah against Man City. To be honest with you, I actually don't mind playing Salah against Man City because Man City always just seem to find a way to concede. Then I'd probably actually take out Konate for someone like William Saliba, for example, and go double Arsenal defence. That's probably what I would do. But again, game week 13 doesn't look great for my team setup. I'm going to be honest. I think game week 13 is probably a week that I'm just going to have to, like I said, ride the storm and just ride the wave. Because on paper, the fixtures don't look too great. I mean, I do have Danny Welbeck against Southampton at home, which is nice, and Sean Larson against Bournemouth at home. But, you know, Smith Rowe away to Tottenham, Salah at home to City, Haaland away to Liverpool. It's not really ideal. And sort of Mikalenko away to Man United as well. But look, I'm not going to sort of waffle on for too long, but like I said, for me, the big dilemma and the big decision is whether I bring in Mohamed Salah or keep Trent. I don't know what to do. I think if Diogo Jota is fit, I think I'm slightly leaning towards the option of keeping Trent and going for Jota, because I feel like the balance is probably slightly better there. But like I did say, man, I just feel like Liverpool defense is good, 100%, but Trent's attacking threat, I'm not too sure if I'm convinced on the eye test, man. Like I said, every time I watch Liverpool, I just get this sense of feeling a bit underwhelmed about what Trent is doing going forward, right? I feel like I said, the volume of chances he creates isn't as what it used to be. But yeah, that's how I've been feeling in recent weeks with Trent Alexander-Arnold. But look, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But that is sort of what I'm thinking to do with my team moving forward. Let me know what you guys think, man. What do you guys think I should do? Comment down below which option is better, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Diogo Jota, or Mohamed Salah and Ryan Aït-Nouri. I'm not really too sure, but look, we'll have to see what I do, because at the moment I really don't know. This is just my initial thoughts. But look, with that being said, that's going to be the end of the video, guys. I really hope you did enjoy. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you do smash a big thumbs up if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications as well. Yeah, the support has been massively appreciated. But yeah, this is going to be it for today's video, and I'll catch you in the next one. But yeah, until then, I'm out. Peace.